Good morning. I'm Ben Ayers, Dean of the Terry College of Business. It's my pleasure to welcome you to our Terry Third Thursday here at the Terry Exec Ed Center. This is the home of our Executive MBA, Professional MBA, our online MBA programs, as well as our non-degree exec programs. We do open enrollment programs here at the TEAC and also custom programs for leading companies in the city of Atlanta and across the state and beyond. I want to thank our alumni board for organizing today's event and this entire series. And obviously we're thrilled with the great crowd that we have. So please join me in thanking them. And also please join me in thanking Synovus, who's our corporate sponsor, and then WABE Atlanta Public Broadcasting. They're our media sponsors for the event. So thank both of those. On campus, we've got about 2 weeks before the semester ends and we have commencement. I know we've got some students here today who are taking a break from their studying. And so we're thankful that they're here with us. Next month, we'll have Cal Evans. Cal is the Senior Director of Market Intelligence and Analytics at Synovus. I'm sure he'll give us a great market update and hopefully predict what's going to happen the rest of the year. We will not have Terry Third Thursday in June or July, but we'll resume on August 21st, and we'll have Neil Pruitt, who's the CEO of Pruitt Healthcare. So again, the Alumni Board does a great job organizing this event. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, founder and designer at eNewton Designs, Elizabeth Newton. And I did want to ask, are there free samples today that will be? I've heard that a lot of people have asked me. Okay. Okay, all right, great. Elizabeth started eNewton Designs in 2012 with a line of handmade gold beaded bracelets, and over 13 years, her business has grown significantly, with her pieces now sold in over 1,800 retailers nationwide. Elizabeth is a successful designer and entrepreneur who prioritizes her family, including her husband and 4 children. Her triplet daughters help guide her design choices, ensuring that each piece is something that they would wear. Guided by her father's advice, she focuses on hiring skilled individuals to build a strong team while maintaining a balance between family and business. Please join me in welcoming Elizabeth Newton.
Hello.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming. I cannot thank you enough. Okay, how many girls drove over from Athens this morning? They're actual students. All right, y'all stand up. I am going to give you a bracelet off my wrist. It might be dirty because I do swim, sweat, and shower in it. So I would not get into the University of Georgia now because I would not get up to come see somebody speak at 5 in the morning. So thank y'all so much. And as I look around this room, I see stories from each and every single one of you. I am here and was asked to tell my story, but I want you to understand that every single person in this room has a story. And I sincerely appreciate y'all taking time out of your life to hear mine. We all only have 365 days in the year of 2025. And the fact that you woke up this morning and chose to come hear the story about eNewton for one of those 365 mornings means more than you'll ever know. So thank you for doing that. Okay, we got to make sure I understand how to do this. There we go. Okay, who in this room was born a bulldog? If you were born a bulldog, you know what it means, right? So when I was born, all of my family has gone to the University of Georgia. My mom, my dad, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, my grandmother, y'all, 91 years old, drove we call it the land yacht or the Gray Goose. It was a long Caprice Classic Gray, for those of you who know what that is. And my dad, I'll never forget it, he got a phone call and it was a policeman. And he was at her house because she had gotten in a hit and run. And she drove home. And the reason why he did not arrest her, that's right, Rhodes, it was Honey, he didn't arrest her because she had a bumper sticker on the back that said, "Damn right, I'm a bulldog." She was 91 years old, y'all, and drive around like this. So, anyway, also, I don't know if y'all went to Georgia games back in the 80s and 90s. This was always on the back of the football program. And my dad played tennis at Georgia, and he also was chairman of Cotton States. And his favorite thing every year was they had the back cover of the program. So I thought that was kind of cute to show y'all. But to tell y'all a little bit about me and being at the University of Georgia, I was born a Bulldog, and I went to Georgia as a math major. I graduated as an advertising and speech communications major, which I really feel sorry for my husband and my team because they never know which one of me is going to come out that day. Am I going to be talking about finances or how we're going to create the world, right? So I'm a little bit of a mixed bag, but every part of my education at Georgia was really, really important to me and my story. So we did hand out a couple of Post-it notes to some tables. If y'all got it, please pass one around. And I want y'all to take just a second and write down, or mentally, if you didn't get one, what is the most valuable takeaway from your time at the University of Georgia? Okay. So I talked to you a little bit about math. I talked to you a little bit about um, advertising and speech communications. So if I do not do a good job today, you need to go talk to the people in the speech communications area and tell them that they really need to work on their students. So, but to me, what I took away was my personal network. And this picture right here is my husband. Sorry, Ben. But and I really think that when he met me, I was 18 years old, and I would walk to psychology class a certain way because he made me laugh, right? And he knew so many different people. He was so kind to everybody. She's still cracking up at your picture. Sorry. But seriously, meeting Ben at the University of Georgia is the best thing that could have happened to me because he has challenged me in ways to make me a better person that I never, ever knew that I could be. And, you know, he helped me understand the importance of time. He helped me understand a lot of different things. And he has been absolutely instrumental, not only as a husband and a father, but also for eNewton. So thank you. And sorry about that. But as I said, it's funny that y'all asked me to speak because my older brother was Phi Beta Kappa. He is still very involved at the university on a board there. And I was doing really, really well going out and socializing. And I was the student that ended up having to drive home twice a week after freshman fall, or else my dad was going to bring me home. So anyway, so Ben and I have 4 children, triplet girls who are now 18 years old. And we have a son who is 16 years old. So if you do the math, we had 4 children age 2 and under. So when Ben met me at the University of Georgia, I think all he thought was that lady could give me triplets. That's all he was thinking. I am sure of it. So the other thing before I go any further, y'all are going to hear a lot of tidbits that my dad taught me and how eNewton got to be what it is today. But one of the things he told me was to always dress for your next job. So excuse me for a minute. Feel much more comfortable now. All right. So when I was right out of school, I would get up, I would wear something, a jacket, always in a suit, heels. That's what we did back then. Now, when I go to the office, I look more like this, but in running shoes, because my next job, I hope that I am retired. And because I love what I do, not because I'm ready to retire. And on the beach. So I was either going to wear this or my bathing suit. And I thought this was a better option. What do you think, Dean?
Yeah.
This better? Okay, perfect. But seriously, always dress for your next job. That's something my dad told me. I hope I can give some of y'all tidbits that are in college. Some of y'all already are going, yeah, I do. And then the other thing that I learned very early on too, that really has helped shape eNewton and myself, is be the best you in everything you do. We have triplets, and inevitably, not all three can be the best, right? So be the best you. One of them is excellent in math. One of them is excellent in reading. One of them, if she tried to be excellent in history, she still wouldn't be excellent in history. So just be the best you in everything you do. So early years, I want y'all to think about your early years. This is not just my story, but your early years. The early years of my life, I learned how to network and also transferable skills. And all of that starts when you're really, really young. So as I'm telling you my story, all of you have a story. And I challenge you to go back and think about, each of those things really have made me who I am today. So I was the girl that always wanted to run the concession stand at my brother's soccer games, where I learned how to exchange money. That's what we do at eNewton. We sell things, right? I won the Sally Foster gift wrap contest. Did anybody else in here win? Okay, I'm a big dork, but I did. I had to win because for some reason I could get as much money as I could in a fistful. What I did not realize is my hands were really small and I should have won it for somebody else and, split the money. Another story is my brother went to a different school than me and he had to sell Vidalia onions. And he was Phi Beta Kappa, but he is not the salesman. And so he was like, will you just go do this for me? And he had to sell 3 bags and then it was done. I went around the entire neighborhood and he won for their school and had to walk across the stage, but he didn't know he won until he got up there because I sealed the envelope. He thought I only sold 3 and he was about to kill me. And then the other 2 things that I really think back in my early years, I was an athlete. I love to hire athletes. Athletes know how to be a part of a team. They know how to lose. They know how to fall on a sword for a teammate. They know how to lead. And they also know how to sit on the sidelines when they need to. So and they know how to compete. And they also know how to stay up until 2:00 in the morning. Sorry, Bootsy. So I love athletes, and all of those are transferable skills. And then also thinking back in my early years, I would not call myself a fashionista. I was the kid that would wear jams and parachute pants, and I was a total tomboy, but I would have to change the buttons because I didn't like them. So that's when I realized I needed to make my own things. Okay, I'm thirsty here. So when I graduated, it was right when the .com happened. Does everybody remember when the .com came out? And I went to work for a company. It was called EBPP. Imagine this. Nobody would pay their bills online. It was called Electronic Bill Presentment and Payment. And everybody was scared to pay a bill online, and we were trying to convince people to do it. So I went around the world and set up trade shows, all these big booths all over. And what I didn't realize was doing all of that was going to transfer all of those skills to eNewton and how to go to market and set all of that up. So as I said, especially to you young ones, be the best you in everything you do, even if you know it's not your long term, because you're going to learn something from it. I can remember the thing that I learned that sticks out the most from that was don't go to somebody, a boss, with a problem. I always thought once I had something happen, which I'm going to tell you in a minute, a problem is actually an opportunity. If you're young and you go to your boss instead of with a problem, think of it as an opportunity to do something different or better. Go with the solution. It might not be the one that they choose to use, but don't just go nag, right? So we had a trade show in on the West Coast, and our booth didn't show up. And so instead of trying to get my boss, I just went to Kinko's and made a new booth. I mean, what else are you going to do? And then I stood there and talked. I didn't have any material, but I talked. So, but just figure it out, you know, and go with a solution before you go with a problem. My second advice is, what does everybody do now when they get in an elevator? They look at their phone. That is right. Don't do that. Speak to the people in the elevator. Inman Allen, who was Ivan Allen's son, some of y'all might know him. I met him in an elevator and went from the parking lot to floor 2, and he hired me. And that really changed my career trajectory in a lot of ways, because he is just a very well networked and connected man. And if I had been on a phone, you know, that never would have happened. With Inman, he gave me chances that a lot of others passed up on, but I think he realized that I have the mentality of let's do this. And Ivan Allen, which was a commercial furniture and design company, had never been able to really crack the code at Georgia Pacific. And that's where I learned a triangular approach to business. Don't just go to the top, which is where Inman's connections were. I would literally go in and go into the area of facilities and meet all of those people. Then I'd go meet the bosses in the different areas. And we, that year, I restacked the tower 2 times, the Georgia Pacific Tower, in furniture and what's it called, a DINK, a dual income, no kids family. I don't know if y'all know that. That's what it's called. Like, we thought that we were rolling in the dough, right? I also learned to reward my team. Ivan Allen didn't reward everybody the exact same way that I personally thought it needed to be, so I took it out of my pocket. I would reward my team, and wow, did I have a team that was totally committed to me. It was incredible. And then also, attitude is everything. You can be in a bad mood, but if you have a crappy attitude, nobody wants you on their team. So just remember that. Okay, what's an entrepreneur? Anybody?
Go-getter.
A go-getter. I like you. Anybody else?
Risk taker.
A risk taker. That's right. A what?
Innovator.
Innovator. Anybody else?
CEO.
CEO. Lord, I wish they weren't, but yes, CEO of my family. No, I'm just kidding. Anybody else?
Night owl.
Night owl. That is correct, Lynn. I will text you at 3, 4 in the morning, and you've been asleep for hours. Anybody else? Never satisfied. Anybody else? With themselves. Anybody else?
Something from nothing.
Create something from nothing. That is correct. So a lot of you and I would have thought that this is what an entrepreneur looked like, right? But to me, this is what she looks like. This is a mom who was used to a DINK, dual income, no kids, 2 salaries, and all of a sudden you look at your husband, I'm pregnant with triplets. The week of their 2nd birthday, I'm pregnant with our 4th. And so we've gone from 2 incomes to 1 with 6 mouths to feed. And he did an incredible job and is still doing an incredible job as he owns his own business. And eNewton would not be able to be where it is today without him, because it has been able to be self-funded. But this mom right here has expensive taste. And sorry, you knew what you were getting into. You just didn't realize that we're going to have 4 kids in 2 years. And this mom right here, when we were building a house, had to act like our entire chandelier bill was only $2,000. So this mom right here had to figure out, how does she pay for new shoes? Sneaks, Sarah Blakely, another entrepreneur. And how does she pay for chandeliers outside of the $2,000 budget in cash without her husband knowing that she spent that much on chandeliers? All right. All of us women have a cash drawer. And if you don't, you're lying or you're not married. So, okay. So, what is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is the girl on the left. That was my first model. I have Carla over here. She can attest. She was with me. And she dreams of one day making it look like what's on the right. And my husband, all the way through, has said, if it was easy, then everybody would do it. On the left is our entire inventory of eNewton. And on the right is what I thought was going to be our component closet. And now we have 7 buildings. So how do you go from the entrepreneur to today? So how do you go from the little girl who is putting jewelry on American Girl dolls, and we were doing that because my children were this big and I was having to figure it out because mama wanted a new pair of shoes, to 1,800 specialty boutiques in the US. We're in 4 top showrooms: Atlanta, Dallas, Las Vegas, and Seattle. We have 72 reps on the road every day in 50 states. We have over 275 people here in Atlanta. Yes, all of our jewelry is either made here in Atlanta. All of our beaded pieces are made here in Atlanta. They're handmade. We also have some things made up in Rhode Island, where we have another 250 people that work on eNewton. And as y'all think about those little beads, we have all different sizes and gemstones and metal and all of that. But one bead, which is this little one right here, every 2 days, we have 1 million of them shipped to us. And I started doing the math yesterday in my head, actually about 2 or 3 in the morning, Lynn. And we go through north of about 3 million beads a day that we're stringing on bracelets, necklaces. That does not include earrings or necklaces that are not beaded. So how do you go from that girl that had a dream to where we are? You got to find your why. And I was talking a little bit about each of you have your story. I still don't know how my story is going to end, but I have found my why. And so I'm going to challenge y'all to find your why. So how did all of this happen? I literally, Ben and I were looking for money for Santa Claus, and it, for some reason, was not in our seat cushions. And Ben's aunt had worked down at gift market. And she asked me, because the showroom she was in, they had just picked up a baby line. And of course I had a ton of babies. And they wanted me to come help them just temporarily. And so while I was there on my lunch break, I went and found a turquoise cross because I wanted to find something that I could make to give gifts to my friends and my kids' friends, because birthday gifts are expensive, y'all. Especially when you got triplets, everybody invites you, and then you feel like you got to give more because they invited 3, and so I had to figure out a way to make that work. And as I've already told you, sorry, Ben, I have champagne taste on a Pabst Blue budget. I just do. I was born that way. I was born a bulldog, and I was born with expensive taste. And so I had to figure it out. And the other thing is, we had a lot of friends. We were blessed, man. I went into labor. I was in labor 9.5 weeks in the hospital, y'all. 9.5 weeks. So if you don't remember anything else, I was in labor 9.5 weeks. How does that happen? I laid on my left side. Actually, how does it happen? Ben got me pregnant with triplets. And then I had to lay on my left side 9.5 weeks in the hospital, right? And so we wanted to be able to give to our friends who unfortunately had children who, did not, you know, thrive as our children did, that were not as healthy as our children were. And we didn't have time and we didn't have extra money to do it. So that really was also driving me. Like there was something inside of me that was like, I really want to do something for these people. And I also had a bunch of kids. So what do you do when you have a bunch of kids? You run your home like a preschool. So we had art time. So my children literally learn to count by beating. So when I say give, I didn't have the funds to just write a check. But what I could do during art time with my kids, we could make jewelry, go set it up at a bowling alley. And one of my dear friends whose 2 children have cystic fibrosis, we could sell the jewelry, and I had to keep half because I had to be able to buy the next beads, but half of it I would donate to her cause. And I would do that for preschools. I would do that for mitochondria. I would do it for all different causes in and around Atlanta. And I had a lot of people ask me to do shows, home shows at their home. Well, first of all, I had triplets plus one and a St. Bernard. So I was already a freak show. So the last thing I wanted was people to think I was like coming after them to buy something. That would really be bad. So one of my friends did finally convince me to do a show at her house, and I sold $10,000, y'all, in 2 hours. Huge, right? That's what Ben said. That is amazing. And I cried. Y'all, the thing was, she could not invite anybody I knew, and she had to have wine, of course. She lived down the street, and I had to call a taxi. It was before Uber. I could not get home because I went with my samples. I didn't have any of it made, and I had to have it made in like 2.5 weeks because these were Christmas gifts. So I went home crying, and Ben was like, yes, we got $10,000. And so I would literally bead in the parking lot like this. Like I was, in carpool, I had all this stuff. Anyway, and so that's really a lot of how it began. But your community is everything. Your network is everything. And the thing that eNewton right now, we challenge ourselves with every day now that we're in 1,800 retailers is how do we, as a company, touch the communities that are supporting us? It's not just my community. It's our customers' communities. It's not just Atlanta. To us, Atlanta is important, but how do we continue for people to have that feel? Also, how do you build a team when you got 4 young kids and you're trying to really talk to people that would follow your dream, but also understand that your model is an American Girl doll? How do you do it? Well, one of them right here is Carla. Y'all have Carla to thank for eNewton being here, because Carla was my son's 3-year-old preschool teacher. And the year after she had him, she told me that she was going to quit the preschool and she needed to be paid 3 hours a week. I couldn't pay her. So I said, well, you got to babysit too. And she quit her job. And I was like, uh-oh, I got to figure this out. So, and then also I was coaching soccer, right? I told y'all I was a tomboy. I was coaching soccer with Rebecca Nixon's husband. And Rebecca had been at Coca-Cola for 17 years in brand. And she was standing on the sideline on Saturdays. And what she did not know is she would be sitting here many years later. I still don't know if she's glad that I roped her in, but I'll talk about her in a minute. But you got to open your eyes, look around, network. Everybody in here has a story. Get to know what their story is. Everything we've done has been grassroots to this point, because when we did start having a marketing firm, I said to this point, because I do think we found somebody who gets us. So I'm really excited about that. But before, like, I would get on Instagram and do stuff, and then we had a marketing firm that tried to take it over, and our numbers started going like this because they were trying to make us look too grown up. And so I thought, you know what? I'll just put the silly stuff back up. Like, putting Doritos all over my face and telling girls that they should not look orange after a spray tan. Spray tans are fine, just don't look like a Dorito. And, people get it. So, and then the other thing, being a mom with athletes, our business grew as our soccer tournaments locations. Okay. My kids are going to Charlotte. I'll put everything I have in the trunk. I'll go find a retailer in Charlotte. I can write it off. And this works. Mama's got to figure out how to pay for cleats. Our kids' feet grow so fast. We have 4 kids. So, anyway, like if you really look at our footprint early on, it seriously is soccer tournament to where we vacation to soccer tournament, which is kind of fun. So one thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about timing and pivotal moments. Is that the right word? Pivotal moments. So how do you go from where we were to where we are now? People ask me all the time, when did eNewton start? I have no idea. I really don't. I mean, it started when my kids were beading, but I can't tell you the exact date. Can you, Carla? I really can't. But I can tell you in 2012, I had a friend who also needed a new pair of shoes, and she asked me if she could take eNewton to Christ the King. I don't know if y'all know Christ the King. Their little market. And at that point, I think it was called Frills Finds Made Fabulous. Oh my Lord, thank God I didn't come out with that name. Nobody would have our bracelets. And I told her that I wouldn't go, and she couldn't tell anybody it was mine, but I would split whatever she made or we made out of it with her. So while she was there, the head of emerging designers for America's Mart came because they're always looking for people. And they were like, oh my gosh, you have a brand. You have something here. Special, it's meaningful. And she called me because she knew I wouldn't come and said, a friend of yours that you haven't seen in forever is here. She will not let me tell you who she is. I was like, oh my gosh, I have not brushed my teeth. I'm in my pajamas. My hair was like this. Y'all, we were headed to the varsity. Why? I have 4 kids. Why? You don't have to get them out of the car, right? You can pull up at the JV, Quick Flash, Luther Walton, no, Quick Storm, Flash, Luther Walton. We made them Christmas cookies. They were the best. They would bring out hot dogs. They knew our order. They'd see me coming. And so I drove by, and it ended up being that lady. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've not brushed my teeth. I'm not getting out of the car. And she talked me into showing, that was November, I think, or December. She talked me into showing that January at Market. So this is my second booth. The first one, I can't find pictures of the first one. We got to find them, Ben. The first one that I had, y'all, I had a tablecloth that was blue. Unbeknownst to me, Ben had a bunch of dudes over, and they had barbecued. So it had barbecue stains all over it, but I couldn't afford to get another one because I'd put my money into beads. And I had no signs, and I also didn't have a logo, and I did not have a name, but I was there. And so when I set up, I went home and I was like, oh my gosh, my dad said, call it eNewton. You're called E. Howard your whole life. You can change it if this becomes a business. So I did that, and I drew out a square with an E. My sister-in-law made the logo because I was like, you know what? McDonald's, you know the M for McDonald's? Everybody sees that. And I was like, I want a logo that people will remember. So that's why I did that. Y'all, one of my kids one time when they were little, they were like, Mommy, is the M the French fries? Have y'all ever thought about that? Doesn't it look like the French fries for McDonald's? I never thought about that. Okay, so, and then my tennis partner, I realized everybody had like pictures and stuff. She came over and took pictures, and we printed those off at Kinko's. And then I was like, how do I get people's attention? Because if I go back, that 3 buildings of that's America's Mart. I was in a back corner with the barbecue stains. So where does everybody go and you can get their attention? Where? Bathroom. That's right. And so my tennis partner had taken a picture. I made a flyer on Word and printed it at home. And I got passes for some of my friends. They were so excited they could go to Market. I didn't even have to pay them. But what they had to do is go in all 3 buildings, every stall, and put that on every stall because y'all, I was in the corner. Okay. Then the other thing I had them do is they wore the jewelry, and I was like, you can't act like you know me. Go find people that look like you, have your style, and go, oh my gosh, you're a PLU. You've got to go see this new girl in emerging designers. It is going to be something else. Y'all know what a PLU is? People like us. Go find PLUs, okay? And just say, you got to go see her, right? So they would come. A lot of times the husbands are with them, and I talk barbecue. I don't even talk jewelry. The husbands love it. And they're like, yeah, you got to get this girl. You know, she's got 4 kids. Her husband wants some barbecue. I'd turn it on him. It's always his fault, right? And they would buy. So I got home. I was so excited. Y'all, I sold to all these companies, and then goes, Elizabeth, you don't have a business license. I was like, oh, yeah, I have a name. You got to figure that out. So that's what we did. It's always been like that. He always said, if you design it and can sell it, I'll help you figure it out. Well, so far we've done okay. Okay, the other thing is you got to earn the right to do something. So we're self-funded. It has all been because my husband enabled us to be able to do that. I also truly believe that you've got to earn the right to be able to go to the next level. Like the things that we're doing now, we never could have done 2, 3 years ago, a year ago. And a lot of times people will come to me and go, we need this, we need that. We do, but if we wait a year, it's going to be a heck of a lot better. So you got to really earn the right to do something. On the right, we call it eRig. So we have built eNewton in many ways, e-rigging it. That is a picture of a box when I was trying to describe it to somebody with beads. And I was trying to tell them I wanted gold foil, but I didn't know what the name of it was. But I was like, I really want it to look like, you know, our gold beads. So, and really I have everything that we do is customer focused, every single thing. And we're also very focused on communities, like I told you, and local boutiques. Do we have the big boxes come and ask us to be in them all the time?
Yes.
Have we said yes? Never say never, but we have not done it. We're also not on Amazon. And the reason is we don't want to kill the people that got us to where we are today. And I'm very proud to say that we have stayed true to that. Is it sexy? Absolutely. Is it the right thing for us? No, because you don't want to kill how you got here, right? And I put building a team up there twice. Clearly, I'm an entrepreneur and don't have a huge team behind me to do these. But maybe it's because I was thinking about how important that is. Really building a team is the most important thing. So I'm going to get back to Rebecca. That's Rebecca on the left and me on the right after Bulldog 100. But my dad did always tell me the key to success is to surround myself with people smarter than me. And saying that, I really hope I am the dumbest person in the room. Literally, right now, too. I hope that I'm the dumbest person in the room. I say that to my team all the time. I say that to our sales reps. And Rebecca on the left came from Coca-Cola and brand. She was the little cute one, remember, on the sidelines? Y'all, she is brilliant. And she is a rock star. She was at Coke and brand for 17 years, and she's the one that made me realize I got a story. You know, I was beaten with my kids and wanted to make meaningful gifts. The reason why we use the metal that we use, because I didn't want my friends next to turn green, right? So people are like, how'd you know gold filled? Well, I knew I could afford it. I knew it didn't turn my friend's neck green, and I knew it looked expensive. That works. So anyway, but Rebecca's the one that really made me realize we had a brand. So 2015, that's when we moved out of our house. Y'all, that was not long ago. Look at my movers. I mean, they're so cute. We couldn't afford a mover. Those are my movers. I think Ben had tapped out by then. Oh, he took the picture. No, I think that was somebody else. We moved out of the house in 2015. Y'all, 2016, I go to market. I actually just Rebecca and I just got back at midnight. We went for a day trip because how many of y'all been to Seaside? Love it. Our demographics, y'all are in here. So Seaside, 2016, I'm at market. I'm still beating, right? 2000, this isn't that long ago. Those other jokers right there in the picture, they're beating. Ben, not so much. His fingers were a little bit too fat. Sorry, baby. Nothing else is fat, but your fingers are a little big. So 2016, we had just gone to Seaside for the first time. And I was like, gosh, I would love to go back, but it's expensive. And I go to market and I see on a tag Seaside, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. So they start talking to me. Were both of y'all there or just Carla? Both of y'all were there. Anyway, so I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And y'all, I told them that I was going to be back down there in 2 weeks. Could we afford to go back down there in 2 weeks? No. So if we go back to that entrepreneur mom, I had to figure out how they were going to like my stuff enough to buy it so I could pay for our vacation. That's what I told Ben. So I didn't lie because as soon as it came out of my mouth, we were going in 2 weeks. But I went down there and the first 2 days, I didn't even tell them that I was there. I went into all their stores. I studied their color schemes. I studied everything. No jewelry was made for me to show them. I had all of the beads that I owned in the house. I went back and the kids and I made all the jewelry. And I put the color stories together so it matched exactly what they had in the stores. And we took off. It was absolutely incredible. We private label for them outside of their t-shirts, hats, and sweatshirts. We're number 4 for all of Seaside Associated stores. And in fact, I, at 12:30 today, will be flying out to do a huge install for them in one of their stores where we're going to get a lot of an entire huge room. So we've been back and forth this week. So it's really, really exciting. And the thing about Seaside is that why this is important is it really was a client that helped spread our wings to other boutiques who are like us, because like people go to Seaside. And so boutique owners who wanted eNewton all over the country saw us there. So that was really, really important. This was our kickoff. Y'all, I had that entire space, and you see that jewelry in this one corner. That's all that was in that space because that's all I could afford to make. I had to sell it. And we did. And then we've continued to just blow it out for them, and we private label for them now. December 2016, this was very pivotal. Pivotal. Golly, I don't know that word. Dean? English. Okay. A showroom reached out to us, and Rebecca and I'll never forget, we looked at each other and we're like, okay, game on. If we're going to do it, this is going to change everything. And so we were like, yeah, we're ready. Y'all come look at us. I knew I wanted gold shelves. I threw people in my car and said, we're going to IKEA and we're going to buy paint. They were coming in 2 days. We stayed up all night and painted those shelves. And y'all, I sat in a meeting across from the lady who owned the showroom. Thank God her back was to those, because I realized we forgot to paint the inside of the back of them. It was really funny. We also, there's Rebecca right there. It says, I love barcodes. They were like, well, you need barcodes and everything before January. This is November. And you got to redo that whole showroom so it looks like eNewton. All we knew about barcodes were they were on the back of tomato soup cans. Do you know how to generate one? Anybody in here? Perfect. Send us your resume. I'm serious. Okay. So anyway, we had to figure this out, y'all. I mean, we had a month. We also didn't have SKUs. We didn't have real names, because somebody would say, I think you should do 3 beads there. I go, okay, that sounds great. And I'd make a new product at market because I could sell it. And then down there also, it says quantity of beads, 30,000 small beads. We thought that was going to be 6 months, y'all. The beads that I told y'all we get 1 million in every 2 days, that's what that 30,000 stood for. So that was December 2016, going into 2017. So think about the growth. It has been insane. Good Morning America, 2019. This was another big moment. But remember where you came from. That's what my dad always said. Remember where you came from. Local boutiques. You go on there, Good Morning America, it's 50% off. Your local boutiques don't like that, right? Unless you figure out a way to tie them in. So how do you do that? What we did was we actually printed out a list because eNewton is a collectible. It's a collectible item. We printed out a list of every boutique in every city and state and said, we hope that you'll go. I don't remember, it was much more eloquent. Rebecca wrote it, but we hope you go and continue your collection in your local boutique or something like that. Right, Rebecca? Okay, perfect. But how do you grow without making your boutiques upset with you? You include them. COVID 2020. Y'all all remember the day that we were told everything was shutting down. What did every brand in America do?
Online.
Online, and what else? Anybody? Everything went on sale. Do y'all remember that? 20% off, 30% off, 50% off. I called Rebecca. Actually, I texted her. I said, go get a glass of wine. Told Ben to get a beer or something stiffer. And I had a beer, and I'll never forget it. I said, I've got an idea. Just stick with me. We're not going on sale. We're about to invest in our technology. We have a platform that can help our boutiques. They aren't going to be able to sell, right? But we've got a platform that can. Remember, I've got my beaters at home, right? And Carla, you see Carla, the preschool teacher, she isn't scared of my germs. So she was with me. And Bootsy is right there. I call her Bootsy because she's got great shoes. She's pregnant right now, so she might not have on the cutest, but I bet they're still cute. But she's right there with the computer designing with me. I'm the one with the apparatus on my leg always. I've got something wrong. But we decided that we were going to invest in our technology and our platform so that if you went online and wanted to buy eNewton, within 40 miles, you could give 20% back to the retailer within 40 miles of you, and you could pick which retailer. We wrote checks, how many times? I mean, every couple of months, and they would range from $9 to $15,000 to our retailers. Those retailers will never forget it. So many of our retailers said the only reason they could keep their doors open and keep their people were because eNewton wrote them checks. And could we have kept that money? Yes, but we would not be in that situation to be able to invest in the technology if we had not had the retailers. You take care of your people, right? We also had Share Her Story. So if you worked in the front line and somebody wanted to share your story, they could write in about you, and we would send that person a guardian angel necklace, and we would have the note from the friend, so it didn't look like it was from eNewton, and it was all on us, every bit of it. And so that also, I can remember that came from me thinking, I'm at home with my 4 kids. I'm able to continue my business, and there are people that are putting their life on the line for my family. What can we do? So we sent them guardian angels to protect them, and that was picked up by CNN, like all sorts of people. So that really, really helped us as well, just from brand loyalty more than anything. And then here we are today. This is market in 2025. I'm up there. We have a patent now, which is, y'all, if you had told me as a mama that was putting stuff on an American Girl doll that we had a patent, I would not realize it. But one of the things that I needed to figure out, because it was driving me crazy, and our retailers and our customers, our sterling silver was turning. We tell people you can swim, sweat, and shower in your products. Why? Because I'm a mom. I don't have time to take it off. Well, you can't swim, sweat, and shower in sterling without having to polish it And so, especially in the ocean and chlorine. And so I challenged with our team, the metal manufacturers, the people that actually are getting the sterling, how do we create something chemically within the mixture before it becomes a bead so that it doesn't turn? Do I know how to do that? No. But by networking, I know how to get to the people that know how to do that. Network, network, network. So we now have a patent, which is super exciting. Also, going from my attic, this is kind of fun. We now, remember, we moved out of our attic in 2015. We now own 7 buildings in Buckhead. They look like little homes because that's how I think of eNewton. It really is home. And so our people work out of these. We have 7 of them. If y'all are trying to figure out what is going on behind Fellini's on Wayuka, we have no signage. Don't tell anybody. My secret might be out. But we have no signage, and that's for a reason, because I like to fly under the radar, if y'all haven't noticed. Anyway, so we're super excited that we have 275 people between Wayuka and West Wayuka. And that's where it's made, a lot of it. So it's really, really exciting. And we've had to earn the right to buy each one. It didn't just happen. We bought the first one, and then we got the next one. Actually, did we get a lot? No, we got the next one. Then we had to get a lot for parking. And about a year and a half ago, we were still just in 2 of them, and now we're in 7, 2 years ago. Now we're in 7. So, and we probably could use 7 more. Do not, if you're commercial real estate, do not come hound me. I love my real estate broker. But it's really exciting. It's impressive. And to me, what's the most exciting is our people. They love it. We're about to put turf in. So the guys, they all play soccer. So they can, you know, during their free time, which is never, but during their free time, they can go, you know, kick around a soccer ball or do whatever. And then the other thing is people say, how do you find and keep people? Right? My question often back is, why can't you? Why can't you keep your people? My people are my why. I found my why. If you take a look at this, I'm going to talk about my team. I've already told you that retailers come to us and say that we've changed their lives because they couldn't keep their doors open. We're their top brand. I take that very seriously. That's a huge responsibility when somebody comes to me and says, our doors are open because of eNewton. Oh my gosh. Think of how many mouths that we're helping feed, right? And then if you give a gift that's really meaningful to somebody, that also is so important to me. And the letters that we get, oh my gosh, they make us cry every week. It's incredible. But then my team, y'all, we have tapped into the most amazing group of people. Most of them are Christian refugees. And they have gone from literally living in a jungle to now some of them make 6 figures. Like, it's incredible. And they're buying their first houses. They're buying their first cars. They're able to spend cash outside of survival. They're able to send money home. And that is my why. It literally is like a ministry to me, because for me to see people who can do things that they never thought that they could do it and excel and exceed, it's incredible. We also have a 0 bad attitude policy at eNewton. And I'm dead serious. Like, you can be in a bad mood, but if you got a crappy attitude, you will not be here tomorrow. And I tell them that when they're in an interview. And for the people who do not speak English, we have something called the bad egg. And they know that a cake is made with 2 bad eggs, and 2 eggs. And if one is bad, they'll go bleh. So they'll literally come up to me and go bleh if somebody is acting bad, right? And then I've got to get interpreters and figure it out. And, you know, but if I am talking to an English speaking person in an interview, I'll tell them to go home. Look in the mirror. If you have any mean girl, catty, middle school in your bones, this is not the right place for you because you will not be here next week. But we say it up front, and my people are going, yes. But I will tell you, those that are there love each other, take care of each other, and I mean, I don't do this for my family and me. If I did, we would have already sold it. I do it because of our people. I love it. I absolutely love it. So eNewton as a whole, we believe in celebrating each other. We all rise by lifting others. And really, I cannot believe what we have been able to do and the lives that we've been able to touch from a bracelet and a necklace. It's insane. Like, that is what we do. The bracelet and the necklace are the vehicle for us to be able to do it. It's the means for us to do it. It's the way that we can raise money for people. It's the way that we can touch lives. But I want y'all to go back to what y'all wrote down in the beginning, which was, what is the most valuable takeaway from your time at the University of Georgia? And I am going to challenge you on why. So when you leave here today, I want y'all to, I hope that you've taken a tidbit from mine. I hope that I've inspired at least one person in this room in some way, because if I've done that, then it's a win for me. But I really hope that each of you takes time and thinks about the what, and then why is it that way, and how are you leading your life with the why. So.
There are microphones, so you'll raise your hand and wait for the microphone.
If they're really hard, I might have to pass them to this table. I have a lot of things above my pay grade.
Hey there. What's the most difficult decision you've had to make, and how did it turn out?
Wow. Which day? Trying to think. That's a really good question. Some of it, well, probably the real estate play. There were times when, like, we certainly have had to personally make some bets on eNewton, right? Just being a business owner and entrepreneur and doing it self-funded. So thank God my husband is really smart and smarter than me, because he has been able to figure all of that out. But I will tell you, the hardest decision probably was me going and telling him when we were already broke that I had decided to tell the contractors to knock out another wall because I realized that we needed more space than what we were actually already overpaying in our budget for. And realizing that we continue to need more space and more people. And how do you do that in a way that it doesn't hurt the business? Another really hard decision, I would say, from a business perspective and growth is, how do you manage your growth? Rebecca and I have had to make some really hard calls. For a year and a half, we did not take any new customers because of our growth, within existing customers. And we took none. And that was very difficult because there are a lot of people who, fortunately or unfortunately, like how eNewton looks, and they have knocked us off. And in that time, they picked up some retailers that probably would have been great eNewton retailers, but we would have killed ourselves in the meantime, because it takes 12 weeks for our metal manufacturer to get a block of gold to make into a bead. 12 weeks. And so also for us to be able to hire, train, real estate, all of that, because it's hand done. Like we had to slow the engine down to be able to speed it up. So I would think that that's probably the hardest. Yes. Oh, you don't have a mic.
I try to be great. First of all, it was amazing. Loved it. How do you balance life? You're obviously a go-getter. You're obviously somebody who's going to work until 3 o'clock, but you have the more important things in your life. So how do you balance that for you personally?
So I don't think of it. A lot of people are like work-life balance, work-life balance. How do you do it? I just call it life. Our children have been in the business since they were little. And they're a part of it. Like our kids, we have triplet girls now that are 18. They all had to buy half their car because we made them. They had to work for it. And I also can remember when eNewton started taking off, my husband and I had a conversation, and I said, I'm going to hire in the business instead of having to hire at home because I wanted to be able to be mom. Right. And so I have hired a kick butt team who is better when I am not there. And I am going to absolutely embarrass Bootsy. I call her Bootsy. Y'all know Greg Sullivan? He is her husband. Somebody goes, oh, you're Greg's wife. No, he is her husband. Greg, where are you? So Bootsy the other day, they were at our office and they were working on the seaside stuff. And I walked in, I was like, I'd been doing something with the kids. I was like, hey, I'm here. How can I help? And she looks at me and she goes, why don't you go in that other room and just finish the presentation for Terry College? I was like, okay. But that's like the biggest compliment ever. They don't need me. I mean, do y'all need me? It depends. Sometimes I'm just in the way. So really, I've been able to build it in a way, but I will tell you, my children are there until the cows come home during the holidays. I mean, we're there till 2 a.m. And that's just what you do. They grew up in the business. They know that that's what it is. They've learned how to work hard. One is going to the University of Georgia next year. So, but really the other thing too, like if you're not in a position where you own your own business, because I do realize a lot of people here have to be at work from 8 to whenever or 7 to whenever. Ben and I've always had a rule that if they are going to remember 4 years from now, our children, we're going to be there. Because that's important. They're going to forget 2 months from now. They don't really care. I mean, they do, but they don't. But you also have to realize eNewton grew a lot because of our kids. Because when I was traveling with them for soccer, I would go and in between games, I would go sell eNewton into retailers. Right? So it's really a part of our life. Anybody else?
What did you think your career would look like when you were at UGA and like post grad before you had your kids? Like, what did you envision?
I thought, well, coming from Atlanta, of course, you're like, oh, I'm going to go work for Delta or Coke, right? I mean, that's what you did. I went and interviewed to be a flight attendant. I never got a call back. And then I went and interviewed with another Atlanta company and I did not know Excel. And they put me in front of it for a test. I was like, well, that one flopped. So when I was at Georgia, I always thought that I would run or do something. But when I went to Georgia, I thought I was going to be a math teacher. And then I quickly learned that that wasn't going to happen. I could not understand my professors. Like it was crazy. And so I had to change majors, but I do love math. But then I don't know. I always thought that I would do something or run something or do something big, but I never knew what. I knew why, or I found my why, but I didn't know what. I don't know if that helps.
Thank you so much for being here. That was great. Could you talk a little bit more just about how social media has impacted your business?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, what a great lead in. Ansley, come here. I just bought a new camera yesterday. Y'all, she has it. We're starting to vlog. These girls are trying to teach me how to vlog. This is amazing. This is a great opportunity. So before I answer that question, I would like for you to get a picture with me and all these people behind us, because my children, some of y'all came 5 o'clock in the morning, you woke up to get here. They don't listen to me at home. They don't have to pay their mortgage. I buy their food, right? Y'all had to buy a ticket. They won't even listen to me. So let's take a picture real quick so we can show my kids that people actually do listen to me. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Huge. Social media is huge. But I will say this, especially for you youngins, y'all, I would definitely would not be doing this if social media had been around when I was younger. Everybody knows everything. And so anything you post is your brand, your personal brand. And I think that the fact that I have no clue how to be anything but who I am, like being buttoned up in the marketing firm, doing everything for us. That's just not who I am. And I think that that really has resonated with people. I think that the fact that I have triplet girls, one like that are all very different personalities, who the younger generations can connect with, has really helped. And also the fact that I don't feel like I have to be perfect on social media. Like, to me, it's kind of fun. It's like, this is funny. Let's try that. And I do, you know how Kirby Smart has a Get Back guy? Y'all know that? Like the Get Back guy? Rebecca Nixon, raise your hand. That's my Get Back guy right there. So if I ever think that I'm about to cross the line on social media, I run it by her. And if I get this, or Bootsy flares her nostrils, she'll go, that means I shouldn't post it. But social media definitely, honestly, we don't do anything on Pinterest because I don't know how. We're starting to try to do some of that. TikTok, I have no idea how to do that either. But now that we've got a vlog as of today, we're starting to vlog. Ansley just started with us. I'm super excited in the fall, but now she's going to start doing some other stuff. She's going to Seaside with me today, y'all. And she's going to vlog what we're doing. I'm so excited. So we're about to blow up. Okay. No, but it really, I think the stuff during COVID, our social media took off, because when we did the Share Her Story, we did that. I really think that the thing about social media, a lot of people want to show all about them. But if you really, as a brand, like there are a lot of people that are just like in front of mirrors going like this because they're really cute and all that, but I don't have that going for me. I'm not going to go up there in a bathing suit. And if I can't walk in front of y'all in one today, I'm not going to do it on social media, right? So it's really showing your true self, and not just about you, but what does that mean to the customer? Like, because without a customer, we have nothing. And if we're trying to build our social media platform, those are customers, right? Every single one of them. So you got to figure out, okay, if I was looking at this, who would I actually want to be a friend with? I don't know. But I do think, I mean, it's definitely helped us take off. And we do a lot of things within social media, looking at, where are we growing within our social media platform, like what cities or what states, because that also helps us hammer in a little bit more on boutiques in those areas and what's the need in those areas. And then also, how does the social media follows translate to online sales? And then if we've got, really heavy online sales in certain areas, why? Because we really are shop local. Like, everything online. I mean, sorry to anybody that buys online, but we really are shop local. Everything online is 10% higher. We do it to encourage people to go shop at our specialty boutiques. We also do it because we only go on sale one time a year, which is Black Friday Cyber Monday weekend, and we always only go 20% off, which in the end isn't really that much different than what's in the stores because it's a little bit more expensive already. And so we use that data also now that we are opening new retailers again. That data helps drive our decisions on which areas we should open them because it means that there aren't boutiques in those areas. That it? Thank you. It's so fun to be here.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here today. Nice red and black gift for you. You will. Well, we are proud that you are a Bulldog. If we have not validated your parking, we'll be happy to do so on the way out. I hope everyone has a great rest of the week and look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you.